So I got the last coat of marine green paint on the machine yesterday. Holding up pretty good. I do like the color. It's a nice flat green, you know, nothing super shiny or anything. Turned out okay. There was a couple of issues I had with the top coat cracking, but I'm just going to leave it as is. It kind of gives it that character to it. But I'll go through some of the updates too that I kind of learned through the field trials. One thing, I had to add front recovery points because last time I got stuck in a hill and I didn't have any front recovery points, so what I had to do was I had to drill, because I don't have a genset or a welder or a weldinator or anything like that, so I had to drill a hole, put an eye bolt in, but I mean they're plugged up right now, so what I did is I just took some old leftover track guides and I just slapped them on the side and welded them up. Nothing special. And then another thing I learned was protecting your steering brake lines. What happened was I was in the swamp, the sprocket or track must have caught a huge clump of like weed infested mud or something, so it held together really well, and they completely ripped off my brake line right there, and that's like a critical mission failure, so you can only turn one direction. So what I did is I just added these pieces of 14 gauge steel, kind of bent them around a pipe, and I just stitched them on real quick. Hopefully that'll work out pretty good. I had to keep in mind too my track clearance as it kind of swooped over with the track guides. Hopefully those will work good. Another thing, I don't know if you've ever seen the previous videos of this machine, but it's really nose heavy, and this is just for psychological comfort mostly, but also to protect the upper tub of the chassis here. Because what will happen is when you're going down a hill, if you're braking real fast, this walking beam is just free to float, so it pretty much slams the front wheel into the upper hole here to the point where, yeah, we're going to need to limit this up. So it's got a 5-inch vertical travel now. That's just a number I thought would work out really well. You don't need a crazy amount of travel, to be honest. Probably no more than 6. So I just left it at 5 inches. And then also, hopefully that'll keep this thing from shifting the center of gravity far enough over the walking beam pivot so it won't want to, you know, roll frontwards. I don't know if it would or not, because usually, well, never say never. Also, I did a little old man step here on each walking beam. This is just for easier ingress and egress out of the vehicle, because it's such a tall vehicle. It's about waist level, so that's going to be really helpful just from getting in and out. I am adding a coolant gauge. I got the sender already tapped in, threaded in. I just gotta basically install this and then wire it up. So then I will actually have some instrumentation on board, especially once I get to the summertime, because I was a little worried on the cooling capacity of that radiator, because it's so tight down there from an airflow standpoint. I did gut out my steering lever system, my steering console, I guess you could call it. I changed out the old Luke master cylinders to an ASIN brand, and these are a lot nicer cylinders. They're definitely worth the extra $8 per cylinder. I mean, there's just no slop in it whatsoever, and the drain back to the reservoir when you actually pull on the cylinders is like minimal compared to the Luke's. I mean, you'd lose at least, you know, whatever microliters of fluid back into the reservoir instead of to the pistons on the caliper. 1/4-inch diamond tread on the pedals. Before they were just pieces of tube steel. I mean, nothing fancy. I kind of wish I did have legitimate pedals, but it makes it a little rat rodish, I guess. Same thing goes with the throttle. I mean, really, that's about it. It's all those little small things that kind of add up in time. Eventually, too, I'd like to build up a tube steel skeleton, because I'm thinking of a soft top cab, what you see on like army trucks. Like over there's a bunch of Humvees and stuff, not mine, but a bunch of soft top Humvees. I think that's about it in terms of upgrades, to be honest. I haven't really been working on it that much because of other commitments, but oh, another thing too, I did add fenders. I am adding some fenders here. These are the mounts. It's just a piece of old conveyor belt I had, and it'll bolt up like that. It'll keep shit and debris from flinging into the machine there. Because I had huge issues with that, especially when you live on gravel road. It just freaking coated this thing in this mortar mix. Kind of annoying. But yeah, that's about it for a status update.